Yeah, so we're actually going almost on a year since I've been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. It hasn't even been a full year yet. I found out when I was 24 last year, right after I ran a marathon. My body started breaking down and rapid weight loss, and I thought I was just losing weight because I was working out a lot and I was moving on to the next competition, but I was exhausted. I was peeing every single night, waking up multiple times a night. I was drinking water. You know the water bottles, those 12-ounce ones? I would drink it, but I would squeeze the bottle because I was that thirsty that I felt like I couldn't get enough water. And right after the marathon, it was about a 30-day period where I would start getting sick, and I started getting a little more confused. I wasn't all there mentally. I just was unaware. It was like I was loopy. And then it got to a point where I couldn't get out of bed, and I was puking everything up that I would put out of my body. And mom is a nurse. We were out of town, and she said, I think it's time to go to the ER. And it was about 1 a.m. in the morning. Went to the ER. They admitted me right away into the ICU. I don't know if you've ever been to the ER. Usually there's a wait time. I didn't have to wait. I didn't have to wait at all. I got wheelchaired in. So that is how I found out. We were like, I just got blood work done but maybe a year ago, and they said you're healthy, everything's good, you look good, got a full blood panel, the full works, and nothing, nothing at all. And there's no history of type 1 diabetes in my family, so I don't know if some long ancestor has it, but from everybody on both sides, nobody has it. And so it was really out of the blue. So got to the ICU, right? Scheduled a visit with him as soon as possible. I think I saw him that next week. They were able to get me in, and he recommended me obviously to specialist after that. But I ran the marathon, right? And studies show that something like that can't create diabetes. That's not what happened. But I possibly was already genetically predisposed to something like this, and this hard competition triggered it because it was causing me to intake more carbohydrates. And I'm talking about my carbohydrate intake leading up to the marathon, the prep. I increased it. I probably doubled it. I probably doubled my carb intake. And I don't know if you know, like, more carbs turns into sugar, raises your blood sugar. So something like that possibly could have triggered it. He said it possibly was already happening because usually your pancreas slowly dies over time with type 1 diabetes. And so I could have had it, but this may have just triggered it. And it was just the final straw of where, okay, here it is. At the beginning, I was so scared to take carbs. you know, you don't know. I didn't know anything about it, so I thought carbs were evil. After that, I soon learned after some education from different health educators like my endocrinologist. They said carbs are indeed not evil. If you just dose with the insulin, right, was what they told me, then you're good. And so, at first, I was on a carb free diet probably the first month because I was so afraid to poke myself with insulin. So I don't know if you know, cheese and meat don't have carbs in it, so I was like on a cheese and meat diet, and maybe some nuts or like food that has like one or two carbs in it. And I soon realized, but in those types of trainings, like you mentioned, you still need those carbs to fuel yourself for those exercises, and it's rigorous and it demands a lot of carbs because you're using so much glycogen during your workouts. So I soon, after a period of time, I learned that I need carbs more than the average person because I was working out so hard. So I just had to really trial and error with how much insulin I need to meet my whatever carb intake I'm doing. And everyone's body's different, so everyone has a specific measurement because everyone's body reacts differently to insulin. So mine, when I was starting out, was very sensitive to insulin because there's this thing called the honeymoon stage where a lot of type 1 diabetics who just get diagnosed, their pancreas still works in the first year. And mine definitely was still working. I was using like 1 unit for a lot of carbs, so I didn't have to use barely any insulin until probably in the last like month. how to start using more insulin. Okay, so I don't use any long-acting insulin. I only use fast-acting because I'm so active. Long-acting stays in your system for a long period of time. That'll drop my blood sugar, and then I'll pass out if I'm working out so much. So I only use fast-acting when I'm eating. So say this morning, I had coffee with cold foam on top. There's carbs in there, right? And so I give myself fast-acting insulin right before. Other than that, yeah, the cold foam, right? Yeah, yeah. Even that will spike me. That will spike me crazy. That little bit of foam on top. So then there's that, and I have it's the glucose monitor. I have that, and I have it on me 24 hours a day. It monitors my blood sugar, which is really helpful when I'm biking, swimming, and running, to make sure I know where I'm at before, during, and after my race, my working out, exercising. That's what I do. That's my main thing, because when I work out, I have, especially for a swim or a long bike, I have to eat whether it's a granola bar or a gel. I spike my sugar just enough to where I know, like, it'll time it right when I start working out, that it'll last me for the workout. I think I tried. I mean, obviously my family knows, like my mom, my aunt, my grandma, and grandpa, because all my intermediate family has to know, because in case an emergency happens, they've had to pick me up when I've passed down the side of the road. But other relationships, like friends, they don't understand. They think it's just like some silly thing where my blood sugar gets low sometimes. I just gotta eat real quick. They don't understand the ramifications and seriousness of the disease. So it can be a little hard where I'll talk about it maybe a little bit, but then it goes right over their head, and they have no idea. I don't blame them. It's a really complex disease, and maybe coworkers. I don't bring it up. I don't try to be a poor me situation. Like, if it has to come up, then I'll bring it up. It's like, I don't want to be out there like making everyone feel uncomfortable. Um, and if they're willing to listen, or like they ask more about it, I'll share, like, it's not the same thing. Type 1 is way different than type 2. Um, type 1 is an autoimmune disease where your pancreas is getting attacked. As a man, so it's easy to pretend like this thing doesn't exist. Like, yo, I'm good. It doesn't. I'm gonna. It doesn't. This doesn't. This isn't real. Like, this is not gonna stop me. And that's part of this Ironman journey. I'm making a documentary on my Ironman, overcoming type 1 diabetes and completing the Ironman. And I feel like a lot of the times I pretended like I don't have diabetes, because I don't want it to be the reason that I can't do the things that I want to do at a high level. I don't want to just do the Ironman. I want to compete in the Ironman. I want to race it. And I think there's some nights where I'll get kind of mad. I'll get pretty mad, and I'm just like, I finally found out that I can work hard enough to achieve these goals, and now I have this limiting disease that may make it harder, but I'm not gonna let it happen. And there'll be times where I'll get mad about it, and it's rough sometimes. It's just like it sets in. Oh, I'm only 25. Who knows how much longer I'm gonna live? And I'm gonna have to live with this for the rest of my life. And I'm very strict about my blood sugar. I don't let it go up. I'm very on it, and I just get. It's a constant extra level of anxiety or stress that I carry. It's a weight. It's a weight that I carry, and like sometimes my glucose monitor will not be on because like I'm in between prescriptions, and I'll get waiting for a new one to come. I'll feel so great that I'll have the glucose monitor on, because it'll be like, oh, I don't have type 1 diabetes anymore. It's like it doesn't exist. I don't got a blood sugar number. So I think I try to keep a level head about it, though, just knowing that it's something you have to deal with the rest of your life. And there's a lot of other people who can get inspired by this opportunity that you have to show that even with this, you can inspire a lot of people to do a lot of great things, even if they don't have the disease. That this is not the end. A lot of Hispanics or Latinos, they suffer with type 2 diabetes, which is still different than type 1, but there is a familiarity in a sense, and I think for them, They use in a lot because they eat a lot of tortillas or different foods with carbohydrates, enchiladas. Uh, so for me to get type one, I think some of them. I mean, maybe my family thought I was just eating bad, and clearly I wasn't. I was not eating bad at all, and so I think that there still is a little bit of a misunderstanding with some people, but I think that, I mean, obviously my family was all Hispanic and Latino, and I know none of them had education or awareness about the situation, so they thought that I would just never eat anything bad in my life again. And I mean, like I said, like there's just no, it was just zero awareness on it. So like to even like speak on it, like we were completely oblivious to diseases like this, right? Like obviously, like my older family members, or I think what you call it is pre-diabetic. So they were like on the borderline. My dad was pre-diabetic. He lost weight though, and he was able to get it down. I think my grandma was around there. So they've been there. They've been close. But I mean, even when they hear about that, and doctors tell them that, I don't think they understand though, like what that even means, even being pre-diabetic for them. Me actually having it and being a type one, I've researched it so much. I've done my own due diligence along with the other specialists educating me. So I've really taken the time to really get a deep understanding of what I'm dealing with, so I can take it on head on. You've already endured the diagnosis, and maybe they were diagnosed the way I was, where I was in diabetic ketoacidosis, where you almost died, where your blood turns into poison, your fat's eating itself, the fat's getting eaten away. You've already endured that. You almost died. I mean, I lost my vision. I was in the wheelchair, like head down, unconscious. Like, if you can endure something like that in the hospital and ICU, you can definitely endure this the rest of your life. You definitely can. Just one step at a time, and don't take it on all at once, because then you're gonna get overwhelmed.